Phone Truths is brought to you by Sky Mobile, and it's mobile you can expect more from. So are you tired of paying for more and getting less? Well, y'all know more, because in a world of less, Sky Mobile is here and you really can expect more from them. You really, really can. So you can actually pay a lot less, because with Sky Mobile, you get all of your data, texts and calls for just €15 a month for life. It's all the Instagram you can scroll, all the friends you can WhatsApp, and all the family who listen to you, all just for €15 a month. So don't settle for less. Expect more with Sky Mobile. Well, how are you? Welcome back to another episode of Phone Truths, the podcast where we find out more about the lives of our guests through the medium of their mobile phone. Now, today's guest is, she's someone who's done it all. She's done blogging, podcasting, YouTubing, writing, a #1 bestseller, mind you, as well. And she's known as the Queen of Skincare. Today's guest is Caroline Hirons. Caroline.
Yes, mate.
You're so welcome to Phone Truths.
Oh, I'm so excited. And when I got it through, I was like, I'm coming to Dublin. Can I do it then?
I couldn't believe that you agreed to it and
Why?
you agreed to it so quickly. I don't know. It's just like, so just to explain to people.
Go for it.
We started following each other. I don't know when it was. It was during...
Probably COVID times,
Probably
maybe.
COVID,
when
yeah.
I know you were in the car taking the piss out of something and I was in. I'm like, he's funny, he's Irish, I'm in. If I can't follow a funny Irishman, my great-grandparents would just haunt me from the grave.
Yeah, like it was just so mad. So we kind of would often message each other online back and forth, and I was chancing my arm asking you, would you come on to the podcast? And you agreed to it straight away, which I couldn't believe. I was straight into our Phone Truths WhatsApp group, being like, oh my God, Caroline's agreed to do it.
I couldn't believe you asked me. I'm like, yes, I'll come on.
Well, thank you so much. Very quickly, you mentioned an Irish connection there. What's the Irish connection?
Limerick. Great-grandparents, I'm a cliche. My great-grandparents moved to Liverpool. We call him granddad, but it was my great-granddad. On my mum's side, the mad Irish Catholic Scousers. That's why I am like I am. There were 3 brothers. They could not be more of a cliche. They had to leave the country in a hurry.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. One went to Boston, one went to Chicago, one went to Liverpool. Of course, I got the Scousers.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing as well. They always do call, isn't it, Liverpool, they call East Dublin.
It is.
Yeah.
And it only occurred to me this morning, and I don't know why it took me so long. The word like moved to Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Like.
Yes.
And I don't know why I didn't cotton on, because every time you speak to even like Aoife, who's in my management agency, she lives in London, but she's a Dubliner, and she's, and everything's, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the Scouse. You just took it with you to Liverpool.
I never even thought about that, because I sometimes would be listening back to stuff and I'd be thinking, stop saying like.
But everyone does.
We just use it to punctuate sentences.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're going to get into the phone now, but just in case there's some, I'm pretty sure all the women listening to this are going to be like, oh my God, Caroline.
I mean, that's very kind of you. I doubt it, but hi, I'm Caroline.
For anyone who's listening who might not know who you are, let's maybe just give a really quick synopsis.
So I first came to fame on Dallas in 1982. No, I'm joking. I'm in the beauty industry. I'm a skincare expert. I have my own podcast. I have my own brand called Skin Rocks. I wrote the best-selling British beauty book of all time. Have that as a little tick list.
Nice.
It wasn't the plan. I hated doing it. When people are like, oh, I'd love to be an author, I'm like, fuck that. It's exhausting. There's no money in it. But you do it for the, oh, well done.
Yeah.
You can string a sentence together. Well done. And I'm very proud of the book, but I didn't set out to do it. I had no idea. We were straight to #1 on the Sunday Times bestseller list. And when you go like, What?
Yeah.
Wow, people really don't know about skin. Maybe I'm onto something. And I've been coming to Ireland for over 10 years because I used to do a lot of consulting for brands. So I used to come and do events at Space NK and Arnott's. And I'm one of the English people who says Arnott's, not Arnott's.
Yes, okay.
I have friends who are like, girl, it's Arnott's.
Arnott's, yeah.
Arnott's. Yeah. Don't be saying Arnott's, they'll know you're foreign. I'm like, what, that's not obvious anyway?
Well, then I suppose I'd love to know, what's your relationship with your phone like? Because a lot of the people who we'd speak to on this podcast, they be directly in the media industry or the online influencing industry. You're a mixture of a lot of those things. So what's your relationship with your phone like?
My phone is my business.
Okay.
It's an extension of my right arm to the point where, I have the telltale dent in the finger from holding the phone.
Do I have? Oh, I have a bit of a dent.
Yeah, I've got the dent. It's like genetically done. The dent, knocking the mic, sorry. The dent is there. Like,
It comes from the phone.
I get a neck strain on this side because it's too much, and then I know I have to put it down. So my phone is my business. It started everything.
There's definitely everyone now listening.
Everyone's
checking
looking at
for
the dent. If you're
Yeah.
left or right-handed when you pick your phone up, look at your little finger.
Wow. So would you be like grateful to your phone in terms
yeah.
of... Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. The phone has been the backbone of everything I've gone on to do.
And even in terms of like, you know, say when you would have been first starting out in the industry, has the phone's importance skyrocketed in terms of... Okay.
Yeah, Instagram, basically. Because it was, you know, I had a blog, so I was online, like typewriters, 1956. And changing the ink. And blog went to YouTube. And then Instagram started. And then once Instagram was up and running, and I was an early person on Instagram, then you're just always on the phone. And then when it became like you could check your YouTube comments through the Studio app on the phone.
Right.
Then Twitter. So it was Twitter first.
Yeah.
And then very quickly Instagram came along. And that's once you're on social media, you're on, you're done.
That's it.
It's over for you.
Wow, yeah.
You're never putting your phone down again.
Yeah. Actually, I'd love to know about YouTube because we've actually haven't had anyone on yet who's been kind of big into YouTube. But I often think people don't realise the difference in how much work is involved in creating YouTube content as opposed to online content for Instagram or, you know, how much work was the YouTube stuff?
Too much.
Yeah.
That's why I gave it up.
Okay.
And also the abuse you get because the YouTube audience is like a Daily Mail comment section.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and I watch YouTube all day, every day. Like if I'm getting ready to go out, I'll have YouTube on. Like I'm obsessed. But it was a lot of work. And obviously I was a beauty YouTuber. I was older. So that worked to my advantage on the blog and on Instagram because you can position yourself and there's context. And a lot of the YouTube audience, especially back in the day, was American. So they don't get nuance. They don't get our sense of humour. They took everything seriously. I'd go, oh my God, I'm such a fat bitch. And they'd be like, oh my God, don't put yourself down. And I'm like, oh, I don't mind. I need to lose weight. You know, it was like less of the bitch. So it wasn't the most sort of welcoming place. And now I'm at a point and an age where I don't care. So I do it. Yes. And I have my audience and that's fine. I'm not trying to get to 5 million followers. That ship has sailed. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's almost like an add-on. YouTube is a nice little add-on, but it's so much more work. Give me Instagram Live any day of the week over anything else I can do on social. I can go live at the drop of a hat and I'm done.
Wow. Okay.
Easy.
So you find that like the most useful vehicle for you?
Interaction. The interaction's immediate.
Because I think in terms of what you do as well, like there's so many people who are so interested and need that bit of advice. So actually, yeah, that's probably why Instagram works so well for you.
Yeah, and then at COVID, it worked well because I was raging against the government. Okay. I mean, raging. Yeah. My biggest Insta Live, up until me and Greg dancing to Erasure when we were drunk in the Leinster Hotel in Dublin, I've got to say. Which is my biggest post ever. Yeah. I basically was going on live. My live at 5s, as it's known, started on Insta during COVID, and I would just go live at 5 because I was losing my mind at home with the kids and my husband. And on one hand, that part of COVID was lovely because you got to spend all that time with your family, and on the other hand, it wasn't because you got to spend all that time with your family. So you know, you're like, God, someone please give me a break. Yeah. When do I get my hour out of jail? And please don't ask me what's for dinner again ever until I'm dead. You know, what should we eat for dinner? Oh, don't care. Make toast. So I went live, and it was at the time when the Tory government weren't taking lockdown seriously for the beauty industry. So the beauty industry in the UK and Ireland is 86% women. It's the second largest employer of women after the NHS. And they were laughing at us in Parliament. And they opened the bookies. They opened barbers, they opened the pub, but they wouldn't open beauty.
Crazy.
So you could go for a beard trim, but you couldn't do anything on the face if you were a woman. And I was raging. Yeah. And that's when my Instagram really took off. So I would get thousands of people watching me at 5 o'clock. Even now, like, you know, when I do events, I did an event at Bicester last week in Bicester Village. And about 5 people came up to me and said, I just want to say you got me through COVID. Wow. Because I would go on and we'd go, what we do? Let's do vitamin C tomorrow. Yeah. It's all gone to shit. We might all be dead in 6 months. Who knows? And it would just became something I did. And that really changed the dynamic of me and what I was known for. And as my husband's always said, who'd have thought that being gobby and opinionated would be a career? You know, and I'm like, yeah, but at least when I do talk about skin, I am qualified. It's not just, you know, pissing in the wind. Yes. Like, oh, maybe this will work. So I think Instagram, for me, it being my main channel, has been pivotal to the success. I mean, the brand, you know, doing a pod, all of that came because of Instagram.
I think as well, though, because of, like, let's stick with the world of Instagram or just in online in general. we've been so kind of, I think everyone is really getting to a point where they're sick of being presented with the perfect life and the perfect.
Well, they never had that with me.
But that's why I think people love it, because like they see themselves in you way more than they would do in someone who shows their ultra perfect life.
I visibly disintegrated during lockdown online because my hair went grey, the lashes came off, the nails went. It was like I was melting like the Wicked Witch of the East in the Oz, where she kind of melts. I was like, Jesus, look at my hair. The eyelashes were hanging off like I had a butterfly stuck in my foot. You know, it was a whole thing. But we were all doing it together. Women were like, here's my roots, and then tagging themselves. And it just became, it is what it is. What can we do?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not dyeing my own hair. I'm sorry, I'll draw the line.
Yeah.
If we're all going to die, I'm going to die with grey hair. I'm going to my colourist. It's the one thing. I love getting my hair done. I'm just going to be bougie about it.
Yeah.
My mum was like, oh, I'll do mine. I'm like, no, I just had 3 colours, different hair. It was great.
Do you think like online has really increased the pressure on like people to, look after their skin, or to present themselves in a certain way, to look after their hair, or to present themselves in a certain way in that sense?
Do I think it's always been there. I think it's just moved from the media. I think it's moved from newspapers to magazines to blogs to social media. So everyone's saying, oh, there's so much pressure on young women, as if that hasn't always been there.
Yeah.
It's always been there. It's just amplified with social media. When I interviewed Grace Dent, I said, so how did your relationship with food turn into like being a food critic? That's amazing. And she said, well, I'm a Gen Xer, which I am. She's a couple of years younger than me. I'm 55. She said, well, I'm Gen X. It means I've basically been on a diet for 35 years. Yeah. That's our culture. Our culture was Weight Watchers and Slimming World and God, whatever you do, don't put on weight. Yeah. And make sure you're all, and especially if you're a Scouser, curly blow, full face, don't go out looking like a dog, Very Irish and Scouse, it's like, I'll wear rollers out the street. It's all good. So I think that it's always been there. The pressure on women in particular to look a certain way has always been there. Look at all the Hollywood starlets. No one looked like that in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, except Marilyn Monroe, Jean Harlow, I just think now it's amplified because of social media. If anything, I think the backlash towards it has been able to be seen because people can now go, actually, this isn't normal. Yeah. You are supposed to look like a dog's dinner on occasion. Most of us do, But it's interesting because that coming from your unique perspective of someone who has such a successful skincare brand, like people will be used to people within that industry only presenting the perfect. So do you feel a responsibility nearly to show like, look, it's all right to not be perfect all the time? To be honest, I've got so many responsibilities already with my kids, my husband, the grandkids, my team. I'm not taking on anyone else's responsibility. You can all fuck off, frankly. Like, I'm tired. But I will say, I just feel like it's just be who you are. Yeah. We all scrub up well. Everyone scrubs up well. You don't go to a wedding and not make an effort. Yeah. And when your Auntie Pat makes an effort, you're like, oh, Jesus, she's got the heels on. They'll last until the first dance, And I just think your responsibility is to yourself and to just be a decent person. And, when I was vlogging on YouTube, I looked, oh my God, the way that my viewers have seen me, I'd be in a hotel in California bitching about them not having any tea. And my hair would be in a bun. I'd have spots. I'd just be like, oh, fuck this. I'm going home like I'm knackered. Yeah. And it just went down really well. I mean, one of the very first clips I did on YouTube was me screaming at the kids to shut up because I was filming. And I was like, da-da-da, and this product is, blah. And then I went, can you shut up? And I showed my husband, I said, what do you think of this? He went, oh, you don't want people thinking nasty. I went, no, I think this is going to land with mums. I'm leaving it in. Yeah. And I left it in and everyone was like, oh my God, I scream at my kids all fucking day long. It was just so perfect because I just went, can you shut up? Yes. And then they kept going like, where's Dad? And I'm like, I'm fucking filming here. And I just left it in. And then I think if you're real, people respect it, you know, in the same way, like if you're real, when I was grief stricken when Mum died, the community really held me up. You know, everyone was just like, oh God, it was either I've been there or, oh my God, I know how much she meant to you. And it was lovely. So, you know, when I argue with Jim, I played a brilliant wind-up game with my husband during lockdown that it's still known for. So I would make our Alexa play Nickelback, How You Remind Me, whatever room he was in. And so I'd be like on Insta going, watch this. Where is he? Right, let me listen. All right, he's in the living room, watch this. And I'd go, Alexa, play Nickelback in the living room. And he'd go, never made it as a wise man. And you'd just hear my husband go, will you fuck off? And I'd be like, I love it. And he'd go, Alexa, stop, fuck off. I mean, it was just a lot of language, which I'm glad I'm getting out now. But it went on for weeks and everyone was just like, poor Jim. And I'd be on a live and they'd go, wind up, Jim. Because I've always got two phones, right? Work and me.
Yeah.
And I'd go, oh, lad, you're being mean. And I'd go, okay, then. I'd go, hang on, he's in the kitchen. And I'd go, Alexa, play Nickelback, How You Remind Me. And you'd hear, never made it as a wise man. And you just hear him go, for fuck's sake.
I'm not going to lie. I might rob that one at some point. That's a great
brilliant.
one. That's,
honestly, and it kept me going for like 2 weeks.
Ah, brilliant. Then in terms of your phone and your like personal life, does it play a big role in that? Because you're on the road so much.
Yeah, I mean, the family WhatsApp group, we've got another one called Two Tribes, which is me, my immediate family, and my brother and my nephew. And that gets like football and, you know, random memes. But no one, I send things I think are really funny. And God bless my brother and my son Daniel. They're the only ones who really like respond and go, oh, lol. Yeah. Everyone else fucking ignores me. I'm like, I might as well just, no one gives a shit. You know, it's just, but yeah, personal life, if I didn't have the phone, I have all my kids on Find My, except my eldest, he won't let me do it.
Okay.
He's like, I'm 33, I'm married with 2 kids, piss off, mum. I'm like, I'd like to know where you are. So I can go, where's so-and-so? Oh, they're at home, it's okay, they're probably asleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great to have the phone with kids because, you know, my generation, it does make me laugh. You know, you see all these reels on TikTok is where they really started with the Gen Xers. And younger people don't believe us. You know, it's like, if the nuclear bomb drops us, thanks, Trump, if that happens, Gen X will be the ones walking out the dust, mate. Yeah. Gen Zs are dead. You lot are done for.
We're finished.
The kids are done.
Yeah.
You know, you're not a Gen Z.
What am I?
You're a millennial.
I'm a millennial. Sorry, yes.
As if you're a Gen Z.
I'm in the in-between.
You're
yeah,
in
I wish it was a Gen Z.
But, you know, it wasn't even like, we weren't given a choice. People were like, you drank out of water hoses. I'm like, well, if we were thirsty, we weren't allowed back in the house.
Yeah.
You're out of the house.
Yeah.
Be back for tea. Well, what time's that? Roughly, it'll be when it goes a bit dark. You think, I should probably go and check if my tea's ready. Or you'll get a message through someone's mum who shouted to someone's mum, can you see if Caroline's down the road, her tea's ready?
Yeah.
Like, that's my childhood. With the kids, I'm like, oh, I can see that they're doing da-da-da-da-da, and I can tell they've just used my Deliveroo.
I know exactly
It's a different world. They don't know any different, you know?
Well, you kind of went back to a few stories from, you know, in the past. So I want to get into a bit of nostalgia now. What was your first ever phone?
Oh, I think the Nokia 3510, I think.
3510, interesting.
Just like the tiny little thing that used to play, people would play like Tetris or something, and I couldn't do that. Whatever that Caterpillar thing was, I didn't have time.
Snake, yes.
Snake!
Yeah.
Snake.
It was
I
a great...
don't know the games.
It was excellent.
I think it was a 3510.
Can you remember the first text you ever sent?
God, no. It would have been to my husband going, oh, we've got phones. Because we got them at the same time. It would have been like, oh, we've got phones.
Has your phone ever gotten you in trouble?
No, I mean, it's gone off in places it shouldn't, so I'm very good with Do Not Disturb now.
Okay. From doing podcasts.
I mean, on my own podcast, it went off.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there chatting and I was like, whose phone is that? And Liv, who's outside, was like, yours, boss. And I was like, fuck.
Have you ever seen the clip of the Irish footballer Roy Keane?
I love Roy Keane so much.
Did you ever see the clip when the reporter's phone goes off?
No.
Oh, Jesus. You need to see. Whose phone is that? And like he gives him the death stare, and your man, he's like, it's the most awkward, glorious clip you'll ever see in your life.
Roy
I'll send it to
Keane,
you after this.
Who'd have thought, especially as a Liverpool fan, and he's Man U, and there's no bigger war in football in terms of Liverpool Man U, but I love Roy Keane with every ounce of my body. As much as I hated him as a player, because he was so good, I love him as the broadcaster that he is now.
Maybe that's why you like him, because you both aren't a million miles off each other and that you don't care what everyone else thinks.
That's the biggest compliment you could ever pay me.
Really?
Genuinely. Genuinely. But it takes a while to get there. I think Roy Keane is as he is. I don't think for a second Roy Keane pretends he knows something about something he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And I'm the same. If I know my shit, I'll fight you to the death.
Yeah.
If I don't really care, I'm not that bothered. And if I'm not excited, like we do a group chat and work. We have a cup of tea every Thursday at 3. We all get together for tea, biscuits, whatever. There's loads of us in the office. And then we have a question of the day. And it was, you know, last week it was, what's something that is really popular that you think is really overrated, you know? And and then the day after I saw the clip of Roy Keane talking about how much he hates fireworks. And I was like, see, we're the same person.
Wow, you and Roy Keane, you need to get that.
You just don't care about, like, I'm not a mean person. I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I treat people well. But I'm not going to pretend to like something just because you do. That's what you do when you're in school.
Yes.
That's what you do when you're a teenager and you don't really know yourself. When you know yourself, you know, when I see thousands of people at Taylor Swift, I'm like, go with God. Not a chance in hell.
Okay.
And Beyonce, not a chance in hell.
Really?
No. They're on my list of overrated, but I fully respect what they've done.
Yeah.
as women, as artists, I get it. And I love that people are so into it because I'm into it other things in the same way.
Yes.
I'm a maniac in other ways. So I love it for the maniacal worship. I think it's entertaining.
Yeah, yeah.
But I could not sit through 3.5 hours of Taylor Swift.
So tell me this then. And I think I know the answer to it, like, does cancel culture scare you?
I think I'm too old to be cancelled.
Okay.
Short of doing something really, it would have to be out of character because I'm not a dick.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a dick. I don't drink really that much anymore. When I do, I'm exhausted for days. So there's no sex tape of me anywhere, I can promise you that. I don't have a drug history.
Yeah.
You know, I've been married to my husband for 95 years. Like, I'm a mum and a nan.
Yeah.
And because I am me. And to be honest, it's interesting because being serious, with my ADHD and when my blog really took off and I was getting loads of traffic, like the blog, when we archived the blog into the body of Skinrock's website, it had like 180 million views. It was enormous. Like you can't even comprehend. You're like, wow. You know, it was seen by every country that had any kind of electrical equipment.
Yeah.
And so when you're there, it's kind of, my whole life has been played out online. But when I was perimenopausal and with ADHD, and I didn't know I had either of those things, I thought I was just a moody bitch. Yeah. It's a miracle I've still got a career because all the sort of rude things I did or having a go at people when it wasn't really necessary was done over 10 years ago. Okay. And I think I've earned the right now to be like, and I would be the first to go, no, that's my bad, I was a knob. Okay. I was the first. I love taking responsibility. Like when we fucked up, I'd be like, no, my bad, it's on me. Yeah. We're going to fix it, whatever happened. Like we had a massive, our back end basically failed during one of the kits we did at COVID, and we oversold by like 3,000 units, and we had to do 3,000 manual refunds and calling people, and my team worked on nothing else for a week. But what came out of it was people trusted me because I immediately put a statement out going, guys, this is on me, I'm going to fix it. Because it was also around payday, and I was really aware that if people had tried to order 3 or 4 times and the money had gone out of their account, they've got bills to pay. Oh, Jesus. We didn't sleep. It was like 24/7 for a week, making sure it was done. But the response we got from that was so lovely because everyone was like, oh my God, you could not have handled it better. Like you went in. We were in the marshes. It was deep. And so I think as long as you're like, yeah, that was me. You know,
you are so right, because I think a lot of the people listening to this and a lot of our generation were terrified of saying the wrong thing or offending someone slightly. And you are so right, because you're just going, as long as I am a good person and I live my life in a decent way, what is there to worry about?
Go with God.
Come at me.
Do whatever you want to do. But there's nothing like, you know, when I interviewed Stacey Solomon for the first series of Waz, she basically was talking about how she doesn't really get trolled because she knows she does, but she doesn't pay any attention to it. She's too busy raising the kids. And she literally, I mean, what they're going to say to me? I've got a big nose. Do you think I didn't hear that growing up with my fucking sister? Yeah. You know, and I think I came through the worst of it when sort of like YouTube was really hard on older women. I looked the other day and I had to send you can block words on YouTube, and I had to block hoe, bitch, slag, slut, all the words that you would hurl as an insult to a woman. I just blocked them all, right? Because it was rife for a while. And I think now I just think I know who I am in myself, and so I don't really care if, you know, some Doris from Tunbridge Wells thinks I'm overweight. Oh no, how will I cope? Or doesn't like my skincare, you know. But if they said, things like, oh, she's a liar, I'm like, no, I'm not a liar. Yeah. I'm not a liar. I treat people well, you know, but if you come for, and it's not so much me, but the people around me, my team, you know, family are off limits. Yeah. Then I will hunt you down until you're dead. But me, I'm like, yeah, whatever, fuck off. Whatever. I don't care.
Do you think, you know, younger generations care too much about what people think?
Really care too much. They really care too much. And I think it's a fine line, interesting, because they care too much, but then they don't make an effort. And I'm like, wow. Like, you care about what people think of you, but you don't shower. Yes. Like, the fuck? Yeah. Like, I see people out and about and I'm like, and a lot of it is young men, I have to say, and I feel bad because I've got 3 of them. And I don't mean my own kids, but there is an element of, you still have to show up and make an effort and be respectful and, you know.
As a man, and just in terms of like thinking of my other male friends, I think male skincare is something that's only starting to even like land on in front of us, really, like that we're thinking about. What, if you were to say, because I don't do enough at all, what would be like the little bit of advice for me or for any men listening?
Don't wash your face with a shower gel in the shower.
Because, see, I'm of the old school thing of just like, if it's sudsy, it's sudsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of men do. Like half the time, I would say 3/4 of the time, if a man has problem skin, I say, how do you wash their face? They just go, I'll just do this in the shower. And I'm like, well, let's just start there, shall we? You know? So I think you don't have to go over the top. You know, wash your face, put a moisturiser on, you're good.
Okay.
SPF in the summer. Like with men, I'm just like, you know, if you've got a heavy beard, you might appreciate the odd exfoliation day.
Yeah.
But I don't go in hard. You know, the gays have got that covered for you. Yeah. The gays have got that covered for you. You know, my gays are just like, well, I've got my 15-step or I do 7 steps or, you know. So I don't, straight men, let's be honest, we're lucky you're showering.
Yeah, exactly. Anything outside of that is a bonus.
I mean, I've seen men, maybe in my own family, smell their underpants to see if they need to wash them or they can wear them again.
Turn them inside out.
Turn them inside out.
Back
and I'm like,
to front.
what the fuck are you doing? We're not camping.
4 days out
There's
of
a
them.
washing machine right there. I don't. So whatever you can do. Yeah. I'll take whatever you can do.
Okay, good advice. Good, nice, clean, solid advice.
Wash your face. Yeah. Moisturise your face.
Fair enough. I want to get on to the highlights reel now of your phone. Can you talk me through some of the favourite moments you've captured on your phone?
Yeah,
Things that you're always going back to that make you feel good.
Grandbabies.
Ah, yes.
So I can't show you the camera, but you can hear them. They're very loud, and you'll see why. Like I was just. When they stay with me, my granddaughter stays with me in the bed, sleeps with me, and then the grandson sleeps wherever he just wants to sleep.
How old are they?
They are 4 and 2.
Oh, God, great
And
ages.
so I was taking a selfie with my granddaughter. The grandson climbs into bed, and we get this. Look, listen, you'll be able to. It's the giggle. A kid's...
They're gorgeous.
I mean, my grandson has what I would call a CBeebies voice.
Yeah.
Like his voice is made for a cartoon character. So anything that involves the grandkids is saved as a favourite and just watched on a reel. Like if it was no VHS tape from the 80s, it would have worn out like Top of the Pops when Duran Duran were on, you know? I'm like, oh, I'm a bit sad. Let's watch the babies.
I did an interview there a few months ago and they were asking about like, what's the thing that makes you happiest in the world? And it sounded like such a basic answer. But I was like, I swear to God, hearing the kids laugh.
Hearing the kids laugh.
It is. It does something. There's something like...
It's
instinctive inside you where it triggers.
And equally, what panics you the most? Hearing the bang and a wah. You never... I mean, I get goosebumps now. You've never run so quickly as when you hear the baby cry.
When there's like the pause.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boom. Wow. Shit.
Yes, it's desperate.
Yeah.
What about, you know... Is it different being a granny as opposed to a mum?
Oh my God, it's so much better.
Really?
Oh my God. Like if you are struggling with teenagers and you're a parent, just get them through it because the payoff with grandkids is worth it. Like I think, this is what I say, I think Jesus makes you get through the teenage years and then he gives you the gift of grandchildren so you can forgive all of their sins.
Wow. Okay.
Literally, being a nana is so much better than your own kids.
Gas.
You have the worry, but it's not 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, you get all the love.
Yeah.
You can still tell them off within reason, you know. Not the way I was told off by grandparents, like a slap around the leg, you know. I just mean like an eyebrow, like, maybe we shouldn't do that to the dog. You know, maybe put the brick down.
Yeah.
You know, let's not smash a window. But yeah, it's a different level. The instinct is still there. The first time I held my granddaughter, who was the firstborn, something came over me that was like, wow. It was, like you say, you don't want to be a cliche, but like, this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here. And because you're older, you know, time is much more finite. You're like, now I get it. Now I know why I'm here.
Yeah.
And it is to leave something for these babies, you know, live your best life, do good parenting as much as you can. You know, my son winds me up. My eldest is the one that's given us the grandchildren. So he's all like, I'm getting it all in the will. Yeah. I'm like, there ain't that much to get, baby. You can have it. And, you know, he's all like, well, you know, you and dad did this with us. And I'm like, look, I'm just going to tell you now, son, I love you more than life itself. I would give you a kidney. But if it would save your baby's lives, I'm pushing you in front of a bus. Like you're toast. I'll jump in front of the bus, but if you're close, you're going over the bridge. I love you. I'm obsessed with them. Yeah. Like it's a different level of obsession. I don't know if your family are the same, but...
I have to say, it was actually one of the things that surprised me most about becoming a parent was the joy it gave to everyone else in the family, particularly our own parents.
Yeah.
You felt like, oh my God.
Look what they've done. Why, they've never been this happy with me before.
This is so lovely to see what we're doing for them.
Do they walk past you to get to the kids?
sorry, we don't even, like, sometimes I've called into the house, like, to run in and grab something. I might have the kids with me. And man would be like, oh.
Yeah, literally.
Just couldn't be arsed.
No, literally. All right, love. Occasionally I have to go, hello, son. And I give him a kiss. Like, where's the babies?
Yeah, that's the only
I
thing.
love my kids.
Yeah.
But grandkids, I've never known anything like it. And the good thing is, like, because obviously my son's one of 4, I've got 4 kids. We're all the same about the babies.
Yeah.
Those kids are worshipped. Like, it's just amazing. It's incredible.
That's great. That's brilliant. I'd love to get into the good, the bad and the ugly now.
Okay.
In terms of these are the moments where your phone has played a real supporting role in your life when you didn't even realise it was. So first of all, I'd love to know, what's the best phone call you've ever received?
There's been a few. I suppose it wasn't so much a call as when my first grandchild was being born, because it was a section. And we knew she was going in for a C-section. I said, I don't want to be that mum. You need to send me a thumbs up. I just need to know that she's okay.
Yeah.
And the baby's okay. And I got the thumbs up in a picture and I was like, oh. And you think that would wear off. But when I got the second thumbs up for the next one 2 years later, I was in the office and I burst into tears and I was like, oh, they're fine, they're here. They're fine. They were like, is everything? I'm like, everything's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah. Baby announcements.
That's gorgeous. Yeah. It is funny. Most people, they do say something around like kids being born. And
yeah, I mean, what else is there? You know,
it is.
The football, Liverpool are top of the league. Still love that for me. But it's not the same feeling as getting a grandkid. Yeah. You know, it's a good day. It's not a baby being born day.
What's the best phone call you've ever got to make?
Probably telling someone the babies were born.
Really?
Yeah, calling my mum, you know, calling the family, telling them that they're grandparents, great-grandparents, anything like that, yeah.
That's so lovely, though, because if you think about the level of success you've had from a career point of view, like how quick you are with that answer, it's not about like,
it's nothing
number
about
one
work.
book or number,
no. No. I mean, when I'm on, like, you know, I've had some big things like, you know, number one in the Sunday Times, books and things like that, and then being in the Telegraph, and I was on BBC News and all that sort of stuff, but it's all just, it's work. None of it equates to family. Yeah. None of it. You know, it's lovely and I'm very grateful that I get to do the job I do. But at the end of the day, what have you got? I call it my deathbed people. I've spoken about this before. And going back to like people's opinion of me, there are a handful of people in this world who I care about their opinion of me. And it's the people I married, gave birth to. Yeah. And the odd other person. You know, like my brother. If my brother or my nephew thought I was a piece of shit, I'd be concerned. Okay. Yeah. You know? But everyone else, I'm like, so you're not going to be in my deathbed, I don't care. Have you always been like that? Or was there ever a point with your career where you were maybe too married to it? Yeah, no, we've all been too married to it, but it doesn't last because you've got I had kids from 22. So I've constantly been I've constantly had the distraction of reality. Yes. You know, I'd have a big win at work when I was in corporate, you know, the C word as I like to call it. And I'd get in from work and one of them would have chicken pox. That's gone. Yeah. It's shit. Now I've got to do childcare and it's out the window. Yeah. It's kids, you know? It is. It's mental. I do find that as well sometimes. You know, you come home and you're like, something happened great in work, and then you're like, no one cares. No one cares. My kids do not give. I mean, they're proud of me, don't get me wrong, and they think it's impressive, but I know for a fact, unless I say to them, watch this funny clip of the podcast, they don't watch it. Yeah. Or I'll send them something and go, this is good, and I'll get oh, well done, love. And I'm like, I was on the front page of the Times a few months ago. This is the group, right? And I couldn't believe it. And they used a picture of me with a fucking bun and no makeup on. I was like, what is going on? Charlotte Tilbury, Lisa Eldridge, Victoria Beckham and me. Wow. And I was like, look at this. And the kids were like, oh, what's that? I'm like, oh, why do I fucking bother? I'm Whatever. Like, it says British beauty is beating France for the first time. It's huge. And my face is on the front cover of the Times. And they're like, oh, well done, Mum. What time are you going to be in? Yeah. So you don't get a chance. I mean, you know, I always think when people believe their own hype, I think they cannot have kids. Yeah. They maybe by choice, maybe they can't have, but they cannot have kids because nothing levels you more than. I remember I did my first big store event. Clinique did a pop-up in Covent Garden and I did a talk there in the evening and they sold out in seconds and there was a massive queue and it was a big deal. And this is got to be over 10 years ago. And I got home and I was really hyped and I was like, oh my God, it was amazing. We sold out. And my husband, I swear to God, went, love, just do us a favour. Max has just puked. Can you get that shit off the floor over there? And I was like, okay, where's the gloves? Yeah. No one cares. Yeah. No one cares, you know? Have you ever sent a message or made a phone call that you regretted afterwards? Probably a lot. Well, you're a fucking arsehole. I have. Yeah, I don't know if I would regret them though, because I don't really do a lot of regret, because the regrets I have are the kind of thing where you see in a film, like, I wish I had spent more time with my grandparents. I wish I had done this. That's the kind of thing, if you're going to talk about regrets, yeah. But in terms of regrets of behaviour, there's the odd thing where I think, would I kick off about that now? No.
Yeah.
Would I bother myself? Because once you're invested in something online and you're having to deal with people responding to you, it takes over.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, life is too short. I could be watching telly. I could be watching Yellowstone with a brew. I don't want to argue about Gwyneth and her SPF. I still would have pulled her up on it. I was still right. But these days, I'm more likely, I very rarely jump in these days.
Yeah.
If I feel it in my heart that something is really wrong, or someone's like being unjustly, things like that, I will say something, but I don't get as overly invested as I have done in the past.
Okay, yeah.
Because, it's not COVID, we're not locked down, I'm not perimenopausal, I'm postmenopausal, which means you should be afraid of me. Perimenopausal women, unhinged. Postmenopausal women, we do not give a fuck. Yeah. I'm telling you now, if you're out there and you've gone through menopause and you're out the other end and you become a grandparent, it's like a fucking nuclear superpower. Genuinely. And I give off an air of, like, we were walking down the road the other day and I was with Viv and I had my phone in my hand, and a lot of my team have had their phones nicked out of their hands in London with the bikes and the scooters.
Is that as bad as...
Yeah, it's a thing. It happened to one of my team last night, and I had my phone like this, and I've got peripheral vision, right? I've been a Londoner since I was 17, and I've got 4 kids, so you have to have eyes in the back of your head. And I see this bloke coming towards us on a scooter. I have my phone like this. I put it like this, and I'm like that. And Liv had clocked him, and she went, "What's your phone?" I went, "That's not a problem." Because if you come near me, I'm karate chopping you. You're going to be off there. You're going to smash your head open. Good luck with that. And I'll get off. Like Helen Mirren, when she was interviewed, when she turned 70, I think, and they said, "Do you have any regrets?" And she went, "Yes, I wish I'd told many more people to fuck off." And I'm like, I am going to take that and run with it as gospel. Yeah. I am not putting up with your shit. The thing is, though, it sounds like I'm really aggressive, but I'm not. I love people. I love my life. I love my work.
Yeah.
I love my team. I have a lot of love going out there, but I will not tolerate your bullshit.
But we're actually probably way too far on the opposite end of it, because we're too afraid to call out.
And look what we get left with.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Have you ever had a phone call where, like, your stomach really dropped?
Yeah. My stepdad called me to tell me we'd lost mum. Yeah, and it's interesting because it's one of those things that you do see in films, but the noise that comes out of you when you suffer such a huge loss. And when I lost my nanas, I'm going to keep it together because I've had caffeine, it's good. When I lost my nanas, that was a grief like I hadn't known. And outside of the unthinkable, which, there's no word for parents who've lost children. That's the unthinkable. You don't even go there, right? Yeah. But when I lost my nanas, who I was really close to, the devastation tore the family apart. When my dad's mum died, she was only 61. The family were fractured. It was heartbreaking. She was less than 10 years older than me now.
Wow.
When my nana died, it was a bit of a relief because she'd been in a home for 10 years and she had multiple sclerosis. And when my mum died, the noise that came out of me, I still remember. You have your like third person in your body. I was wailing, and I remember thinking, "What's that noise? Oh, it's coming out of me."
Yeah. And
my boys wrapped their arms around me, and it was, but equally, I had that moment of clarity where I thought, wow, this is what this feels like. This is the worst day of my life so far. Yeah. This is the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm going to be okay because I have to be okay for my kids. And that was immediate. It was so strange because she hadn't been well and I'd been caring for her. I'd been up there for a good week, 10 days, and I'd come home for a break. And I think she died because she wouldn't be able to die when I was there. I would have been like bashing her head against, fucking wake up, woman.
I swear to God, I think that is true.
Yeah.
That the same thing happened with my mum's dad.
Yeah.
And the whole family have been around and like...
They wait. My mother-in-law did the same thing. She died on her own in her chair doing her little... She used to do... not crosswords, word search. Yeah. Always had her word search in her little bag. We'd buy her fancy handbags and she'd come out with like a Waitrose raffia little tote. Always carrying around a tote. I'm like, where's the bag I bought you? Oh, it's got it, love. It's in my wardrobe. I love it. But she died sitting in her chair doing her word search. Yeah. And my sister-in-law, Joanne, had been caring for her. She'd basically been living with her. She'd gone to her sister's to have a break. And the sister popped out and she passed away on her own, which is what she would have wanted. Yeah. You don't want to do that to your loved ones.
Yeah, it's so true because we often have this thing where we like, oh God, I'd hate to die alone. Some people want to.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want my kids to experience watching me die. Yeah. Although if it was Ava, she might pull the plug.
Can you share a time when your phone got you out of a sticky situation?
I think my phone always gets me out of sticky situations because a lot of it I have proof.
Okay.
I screenshot everything. So a lot of times I've got proof. I'm like, no, I took a screenshot of that. Here you go. ...
It's Rebecca Vardy's account.
Wow. That's another level. That is another level, isn't it? So yeah, I think getting me out of trouble is things like, having it to call people.
Yeah.
Literally. I think it's a tool. I use it as a tool. And people are always like, how do you switch off like work-life balance? I'm like, first of all, don't have your own business if you want a work-life balance.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it. But I mean, I've had to use it to call people to tell them about situations and things like that, like family stuff, like if one of the kids is in a scrape or something like that. But in terms of, I've had to use it. I was in a car crash. I had to use it to call 911. 999 is where I watch too many American shows. Jesus Christ. Who says 911?
What happened with the car crash?
Oh, fucking National Express coach drove straight into the back of me.
No.
Yeah, and the kids were in the back seat, and I had that moment. We were covered in glass, and I had that moment where you turn around and it was silent, and I thought, please God, because they weren't in car seats. They were older. It wasn't car seat age, and I turned around and they were both sitting up, shocked, and I thought, But
that's worst nightmare scenario there.
Yeah. The split second where I realised what had happened, I'm covered in glass, and I thought, and then you go, all right, I'm alive, I've been in a car crash, kids, and you turn and it's silent and you think, Jesus Christ, what's going to be behind me?
Yeah.
But they were stunned. They'd fallen asleep and they both sit up and then they started screaming.
Yeah.
What's happened? What's he screaming? So, yeah.
And were you all okay?
Yeah. I mean, like whiplash and, the car was in the shop for months and months. And I was like, please just write it off and give me a car for God's sake. I'll be on a coach at this rate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was... it could have been so much worse.
Jeez, thank God. Yeah. This is kind of the section that I'm trying to come up with a name for it that, look, realistically, this is the nosy section of the show.
Love it.
There's no point in me putting it any other way. This is where we get to find out all the juice that we want to find out about people.
Okay.
Who's your most called person?
It's going to be one of three, I reckon. It's going to be either my daughter, my brother, or my son. So it'd be Daniel, Ava, or Chris. And then in work, it would be Al, my MD.
Okay. And with your kids, is it just a quick, how are you? What's the crack? What's going on?
They don't answer my calls. They're calling me.
Okay. Asking for something.
Yeah. All right, Mum. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, what do you need? Because I'm just about to do X, Y, Z. No, it's just if you're all right. I'm like, what do you need? Could you transfer me 50 quid, please?
I know what you're getting at.
But my daughter will call, probably Ava, because she will call me and then it'll be FaceTime, so I have to make sure there's no one around me because she's invariably bollock naked and just getting dressed and sorting her life out. And she's like, all right, Mum, she just wants to chat so she wants me to entertain her while she's getting ready. And I'm like, babe, I'm in the office.
I'm too busy.
I'm literally working. Like, what are you doing? I'm in the airport. Oh, why have you got to go? Because I'm boarding the flight. And I used to do that to my mum. I would call my mum, and if she wasn't home, I'd go, well, where is she? I left home when I was 17. Yeah. This is like she only died like last March. I'll still call and be like, well, where are you?
Yeah.
She would never answer her mobile either. She'd turn it off to save the battery. I'm like, Jesus, woman, it's a mobile. Like that age, I'd be like, Mum, where's your phone? Oh, it's in my bag. Have you turned it on? Well, no, I'm at Sandra's house. I'm like, she went, well, there's only you who's going to call me, and I'm going to be at Sandra's house. I'm like, okay, fair. She went, you've just called me at Sandra's house. I'm like, yeah, I know, but if you had your mobile, I could have called you on that. Well, what's the point? I'm saving the battery. I'm like, oh my God, this conversation, I can't believe it. She would have had a phone, would keep it on permanent charge. I'd be like, Mum, it's not good for it. Well, I don't want it to run out of battery. I'm like, why? You never use it anyway.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if it runs out of battery. Turn the bloody thing on.
What's the last message you sent?
Oh, God. Let's see.
And if you can read it, great. If not, fine.
Last message thing is, it doesn't give you if you sent it to your favourites, does it?
Oh, interesting.
So let me just see. So Max was, I'll give my phone to Liv when we start filming. Jim was me saying that I'd accidentally booked something wrong and we're going to get charged for it. You're going to have to do this. There's a whole list of instructions, as you can see. And he goes, done. I mean, he's a man of few words, my husband.
Brilliant.
Daniel and I are laughing at, I was sending him a clip from Everybody Loves Raymond because that's the kind of shit I do.
Yeah.
And then Ava is, this is my last, read that, the last one. That's my last text to Ava.
Bastard government.
That's probably the most bastard government. That's probably, and then the other one is me saying thank you to my hairdresser because she's fitting me in tomorrow. But the one to Ava is probably the one that basically gives you an overview of my text. Fucking bastard government.
Who's the most famous person in your phone book?
Oh God, Stacey Solomon, Denise Welch, Davina McCall. Davina, Stacey, Angela Scanlon, like the people who've done the pod.
Yes.
People who've done the pod. Rochelle Humes. The only one who's done the pod is in my phone.
Wow, okay.
Not Sarah Jessica Parker, though, sadly.
Well, look, you can work on that.
Yeah, well, she's been on the pod, but I didn't say, let's switch numbers, babe.
Yeah,
Hook me up with a handbag.
Please. Last question, which we ask for everyone who's on the podcast. Is there anything you've learned about yourself through your phone?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, everything, because everything I've learned about myself in the last 10, 15 years has been through the phone. I've learned that I should sometimes think before I send. I should think before I speak. And I do, for the most part, unless it's something I don't care about, like we've said quite clearly. But yeah, and I've learned that I am easily distracted, which we all knew because I've got ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not, my family, the level isn't like, oh, look, there's a squirrel. It's, oh, look, a squirrel. But it's not a squirrel, is it? It looks more like a rat. Is it a rat? I don't know. What is it? Well, they've got a trap for it. What colour is it? Would you say it's grey? No, taupe. Oh, I need to get those shoes picked up. And that's ADHD. Yeah. That's the tangent, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think my phone has taught me, well, it's also taught me the important things because at the end of the day, if it is gone, as long as the kids are okay, the hubby's okay, the babies are okay, I'm okay.
Exactly. Okay. What a lovely way to finish it. Caroline, that was just like such a lovely chat. I laughed so much. It was so lovely as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. What a joy.
Thanks for sharing your phone truths. Phone Truths is brought to you by Sky Mobile, and it's mobile you can expect more from. So are you tired of paying for more and getting less? Well, y'all know more, because in a world of less, Sky Mobile is here and you really can expect more from them. You really, really can. So you can actually pay a lot less, because with Sky Mobile, you get all of your data, texts and calls for just €15 a month for life. It's all the Instagram you can scroll, all the friends you can WhatsApp, and all the family who listen to you, all just for €15 a month. So don't settle for less. Expect more with Sky Mobile.